Disclaimer, the comments made in this video are intended for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to offend anyone. Welcome back, folks. Today, we're jumping straight into the show where unfiltered truth meets overinflated outrage. Grab a seat because the eyes are rolling, the buzzwords are flying, and the meltdowns are already warming up in the hallway. First up is a woke troublemaker who tries to act bold with a preacher, but instantly regrets it once a real man steps in and refuses to let his stunt slide.
This man decided to throw water on their speaker while they were preaching.
I want you guys to have fun.
It's waterproof. Waterproof.
He then comes back and kicks and destroys the speaker.
Going to hell for being a lesbian.
If you don't repent, yes.
Hey, police! Police! Why are you running, you coward? You're a coward, bro. Why do you break people's stuff and run like a coward? You're a coward, bro. Hey, police! 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 Police!
Like and subscribe.
The moment accountability hits, all that fake confidence evaporates and he starts scrambling while the guy keeps the pressure on and shuts his whole act down. Next, we've got Dan Crenshaw sitting there calmly roasting an entire worldview without even raising his voice.
My daughter's going to grow up with a father with one eye. And at some point she might say, you know, I want one eye, right? I identify as somebody with one eyeball. And so if I take her to the doctor and I say, can you just enucleate that eye for us because she identifies as a one eye, she wants to be just like her dad. What would the doctor say? They'd say, you're crazy and I'm going to have you arrested. And this is for a physiological intervention that is far less important than your actual gender and your reproductive organs. We have to stop this madness. This has gone too far. What evidence is there that there's benefit for these so-called standards of care? I mean, anyone can say that they have a standard of care, but it has to be based on some kind of evidence and research. And you find little to no evidence that there's benefits for this. Maybe you just press pause. Because if we're doing permanent physiological interventions to children that have permanently disfiguring them for some hope of a benefit that is not conclusive, then maybe we should press pause.
While woke activists try to sell the idea that kids need irreversible procedures because they identify, he drops the one analogy that sends their whole script straight into meltdown. By the time he's done asking for actual evidence, the room sounds real quiet and the narrative looks real flimsy. And here, we've got a panel pushing the usual equal pay talking points until Will Kane shows up with math, reality, and a level of calm that instantly shuts down the fantasy.
This man was never invited back to the panel after speaking the truth about equal pay between men and women.
The key to getting to equal pay is going to be more promotion, investing more energy and efforts into promoting women's sports, because when you flip on the TV, you're not hearing about the women usually, it's about the men's games.
The women got paid out from a pool of $30 million from the Women's World Cup. The men would draw from a pool of $400 million. Why is that? It's because the Men's World Cup generates $6 billion in revenue. The Women's World Cup generates $131 million in revenue. If you want to talk about pay disparity, the Women's World Cup players get paid out 20%. The men get paid out 7%. As a percentage point, they are getting much more. I think equal pay is a ridiculous concept in and of itself. If the women generate more revenue, they should get paid more than the men. Don't strive for getting the same, strive for getting what you're worth. And if you're worth more, then get more.
The moment he drops the revenue numbers, the whole argument collapses. He doesn't yell, he doesn't posture. He just walks them straight into the truth, and suddenly the outrage brigade has nothing left to say. Next, here's a good one where a festival tough guy who thinks screaming in someone's face will magically make cameras disappear, only to get checked instantly by the interviewer who refuses to be bullied.
Here we have another tough guy trying to mess with the wrong dude.
Can't come on camera, otherwise he goes to prison.
He's on camera right now. Yo!
That can't be a no video content, bro.
Calm. Go ahead.
That will crash you out.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Yo, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not the one. Don't do that. I know you. We shot a video before, but don't do that. Don't play me like that.
Hey, listen.
But yeah.
No, I'm gonna play you like that. I'm gonna play you like that.
You're going to get him.
Yeah, you're gonna get in trouble. Come, forget it. At least your man's just looking out for you.
Don't record me.
Yo, back, chill, bro. Stop playing. You're doing too much.
The louder the woke act gets, the calmer the interviewer becomes, which only makes the meltdown funnier. By the end, even the friend dragging him away looks embarrassed to be associated with that level of clown behavior. Now for a heavy hitter, we've got a woke heckler who thought yelling from the crowd would earn him a gold star, only for Tom Homan to roast him so cleanly the entire room forgets the guy even existed.
Jamie, pull that video up.
Pardon me?
Are you an MS-13 member?
Hey, that's okay. No. I got a question for you. Why don't you come up here and hand me that picture? Bring it. They got morons like this all over the country. This guy wouldn't respect the surface nation. This guy ain't got the balls to be an ICE officer. He hasn't got the balls to be a border patrol agent. The only thing that surprises me, you don't have purple hair and a nose ring. Get out of here, you loser. I guarantee you, he sits down to pee. Guaranteed.
The more the heckler squeaks, the harder Homan smacks him with reality, calling out his fake toughness and turning the moment into pure comedy. The crowd loved it, and the woke ego never recovered. And in this next clip, watch a woman talk about protecting the lowest in society, while pretending unborn babies don't exist.
The government should punish, like, pedophiles, right?
I'm gonna be real honest. My viewpoint is however we treat the lowest in society is how we ought to be judged. How do you know?
So that's the logical question. So I think the most mistreated, unprotected human beings in our society are human beings in the womb.
Then let me ask you this. You are in a terrible car accident. This is a hypothetical.
Yes.
You're in a car accident.
Yes.
You're in a hospital. And there's someone, a perfect stranger, who has also been completely hurt in this accident, and it destroys their liver. They can't filter through anything.
Yeah.
In this situation, modern science can't do anything. So what they decide to do is this very ethically questionable doctor hooks up that person to you so that you can then be the liver to filtrate that person.
Yeah.
They will never wake up. Is it right for you to say, I refuse to put this person to be used as life support?
Yeah, so it's 100% disanalogous to abortion.
Is it?
Yes.
How so?
Okay, so in an abortion, you've got a human being that's been newly conceived and is now living in the one place they're able to live inside
your bodily system.
Right. Just like you did, just like I did, just like all of us did.
I didn't ask to be here, but sure, yeah.
Watch carefully. One woman tries to elevate empathy, but ends up arguing with biology itself. Car crashes, hypothetical organ donations, none of it lands. Then comes the verbal nuke, just like you did. Boom. Logic wins, feelings left crying in the corner. Coming up, watch Piers Morgan explain history to someone who thinks calling Trump Hitler is brave activism.
You spent most of the book.
If you read, sorry,
you spent most of the book with Trump off.
No, I didn't. Look,
after spending years being a critic of his, then you needed to win favor back.
I've never spent
power.
years as a critic of Trump. I've known Donald Trump nearly 20 years. He'd been a politician for the last 10 years of that period. In that time, I used to write columns for the Daily Mail in America. After his first term in office, I wrote about 120 columns about Trump. About half were negative and half were positive. I do think in Trump's first term, if people had been fairer to give him credit where he deserved it and criticized him when he deserved it, everyone would have been a lot better off. I feel it now. The Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing, and it's honestly,
I wear that badge proudly.
I know, but it's kind of pathetic. It's like when I hear people say he's the new Hitler. Really? Hitler 12 million people, including 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. You think Donald Trump is the new Hitler? You're an idiot.
You can yell hyperbole all you want, but facts don't care about your feelings. Piers dismantles the Trump, Tacker, Hitler crowd in one sentence, proving once again that historical perspective, Twitter outrage. Drama meets reality, and reality wins, hands down. Next, Jordan Peterson tries to teach basic biology, while his opponent argues feelings at facts.
What do you understand by equality, Sophie? What does it mean to you?
Freedom. I'm interested in people being able to have different choices and having equality of outcome.
Aha. Well, so you're going to have choices and equality of outcome. What if people choose different things, which is what they've been doing in Scandinavia? So the Scandinavian countries have moved more towards gender equality than any other countries, and the personality differences in Scandinavia have increased rather than decreased, and the proportion of women who are choosing STEM fields has decreased rather than increased. So as cultures become more gender neutral, the number number of women who choose STEM fields decrease. It was a shock to everyone to find that out. I'm really also very much interested in studies like the analysis that was done by the American Psychological Society. Its conclusion was that men and women are basically alike in terms of personality, in terms of cognitive ability, in terms of leadership, but what it did find was that media depictions of men and women as fundamentally different perpetuate misconceptions, as does workplace. Men and women actually are more the same than they are different, but the issue is that small differences at the population level can turn into very large differences at the extreme. So for example, men and women are broadly similar with regards to aggression, although men tilt a little bit more towards aggression. So that if you picked a random person out of the population, male and female, and you guessed that the male was more aggressive, you'd be right 60% of the time. But if you take the 1 in 100 most aggressive people, they're all male, and that's why the overwhelming proportion of people who are in prisons are male. Now, do you want to equalize that, just out of curiosity? What about bricklayers? They're 99% male, and we've got about 3/4 of the population now in universities in the humanities and social sciences are female. Yeah. Are we going to equalize that?
Here's equality according to some. Everyone is exactly the same, except when inconvenient facts show otherwise. Peterson calmly drops real-world data, while she clings to the men and women are alike mantra. Science says one thing, ideology says another. Guess which one wins? Spoiler, not feeling. Now, for a real reality check, we've got a woke punk trying to act tough on stage until a Special Forces father calmly explains just how close he came to meeting consequences he would not walk away from.
I don't know if I've ever met anyone more foolish than you.
Yes, sir.
You've come on stage and you're smiling and you find great humor in the fact that you're assaulted and physically assaulted.
There's no humor to it.
I've trained thousands of warriors, soldiers to take the battlefield in some of the most austere and dangerous conditions imaginable.
That's probably why your daughter's
I've come
so afraid.
looking for you, and I'm going to just tell you that by the grace of God in heaven, I was unable to find you, and it's only through my inability to do so that you still draw breath.
The kid smirks, interrupts, throws cheap shots, yet the more he talks, the worse it gets. The older man stays ice cold and strips the bravado right off him without raising his voice once. This time, we've got a woke critic trying to score moral points about church safety, only to forget one tiny detail that blows her whole speech apart.
It's disgusting that you came here to our state talking about our children that died in a mass as a political point. That is absolutely violent.
I live here, and I go to church here. Excuse me, ma'am, so pipe down, because I, as a resident of... I have just as much...
Hey, I think you need to pipe...
Excuse me, I have just as...
Pipe down.
As somebody who lives here, I have just as much standing as you do to talk about the dangers in churches and schools, because I go to church every Sunday. Do you? Because if you don't, I'm at more risk than you are.
No, you aren't.
No, you aren't. What
you are not.
Why am I not at more risk than you are? Can I have an argument instead of petulance? No, I can't. You're leaving. Okay, very good.
Where was the petulance?
Oh, that was indicated by my sarcastic imitation of, no, you aren't. That's petulance.
I'm talking.
Then please, where do you go to church, Mom?
I don't go to church.
She comes in loud, lecturing a room about danger in churches. And the moment he asks the simplest question about where she actually goes, the entire argument crumbles. He stays calm. She walks straight into the trap and the reset button gets slapped right on her outrage. In this clip, we've got a woke journalist trying to corner a man who came prepared with logic instead of feelings, and it backfires instantly.
In order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. You know, like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
I'm very glad I put you on the spot.
Well,
I'm very glad that I have exercised my freedom of speech.
You get my point. It's like you're doing what you should do, which is digging a bit to see what's going on.
So
and that is what you should do.
You haven't sat there and... I'm just trying to work that out. I mean...
Ha, gotcha.
You have got me.
She pushes hard, tries to catch him slipping, and the moment he flips her own tactic back at her, the whole interview grinds to a halt. Watching her stutter while he calmly calls out the trap she walked into is pure gold. Coming up, we've got a woke military official trying to defend a program he clearly does not understand, and it goes downhill fast.
Demigender? Sir, that's a term of the people that are eligible for that particular scholarship that is available to It's a person who looks at their gender in a different way than I do, sir.
Well, sure, that's all of these people. You're a cisgender man. You don't even get to apply.
Well,
do you know what demigender really means?
I'm not really sure, sir.
Right. So, do you know what agender means? All one word, not a space gender, but agender.
Sir, I don't.
Right. So, here we are pushing a fellowship, calling for people that you don't even know what the words mean, and the number one group of people, the cisgender men, are excluded. Now, in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, should we be pushing programs that we can't define that exclude the largest group of servicemen?
He stumbles through rainbow jargon, cannot define a single term he approves, and ends up admitting he has no clue what any of it means. The moment a US rep points out that the group being excluded is the largest one in the entire military, the whole DEI script collapses like wet cardboard. Up next is a woke patriot cosplay expert who goes from smiling for a harmless photo request to slapping an innocent guy across the face, like she's auditioning for a villain role.
This girl decided to slap this man for no reason while they were out filming and made a disgusting remark.
Did you give my friend Hayden here a kiss on the cheek for the poll? Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Oh, wow. Really? What are you doing? Wow. Wow. Are you okay, Hayden? Yeah. That was kind of hard. Wait, why'd you do that? Are you okay? I don't know where now. I don't know. Are you okay? I'm chilling. Did you get that on camera? Yeah. That's and then she said, you're not from this country. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's... I'm sorry, Hayden.
Luckily, it didn't take long for the internet to find her, and she ended up deleting all of her social media.
Then she hops on a bike and sprints off after dropping a racist insult, proving once again that woke outrage is always loud until accountability shows up. Meanwhile, the guys stay calm and let the footage do all the canceling she tried to avoid. Now check this out, a teacher trying to sneak pride flags into every corner of his classroom, acting shocked when the students finally push back and refuse to play along.
This teacher kept handing out pride flags to his students, but some of them weren't having it.
So I keep hanging these flags up, and then I come back, and someone's ripped the pole off, or broken it in half, but look what someone wrote. Who even says that? It's okay if you have an opinion, but it's mine. I brought it in here. I hung it up.
The man films the aftermath like he uncovered a national crisis, completely stunned that teenagers are not lining up to worship his rainbow decor. Watching him struggle to understand why nobody takes his little activism project seriously is the perfect example of woke ideology meeting an audience that has checked out. Coming up, we've got a woke pundit who tries turning a simple point about Kamala Harris into a circus of excuses, only for him to slice through the nonsense like it is nothing.
Holy. He said what?
Biden literally said Kamala Harris is being chosen because she is a black woman, and then all of a sudden Democrats said that's not why she was chosen, even though Biden literally said that. And then we have this cognitive dissonance as if we're not living in reality.
Biden wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity for a black woman to be his vice president.
Yes, but so why did Democrats move away from that and say no, it wasn't because she was a black woman?
It's not because she's a black woman.
But that's what they said. I can agree that it's not because she's a black woman, but that's what they said. Why did they say that then?
No, listen, I'm not here to defend the Democrat choice on every policy, but there is one party in this country that is identitarian. It is the Republican Party. 85% of Republicans are white.
Does that mean that they're less moral, that they can't run an effective government? Let's say DEI on the micro level. McDonald's. Am I going to get better nuggets if the cashier is black or white? What does that have to do with anything?
Every time the woke Democrat dodges, pivots, or changes the subject, he drags him right back to reality and exposes how empty the talking points are. Here comes another one. We've got a guest trying to sell the idea that a biological man joining women's weightlifting is totally fine, and Chris DiStefano looks like he just witnessed Logic pack its bags and leave the room.
Men became a woman and are now competing in a women's weightlifting team, and this is what they had to say about it.
A transgender athlete, a man who became a woman, is now on the women's Olympic weightlifting team. What do you think of that?
A man that became a woman
is now on the women's Olympic team. What do you think?
I think that's great.
You think that's great? You don't have a problem with men who become women competing in women's sports?
No.
Imagine prime Mike Tyson competing in women's boxing. He would absolutely destroy them.
The more Chris pushes for a sensible answer, the more the woke take digs itself deeper. By the end, even the narrator has to remind everyone how ridiculous the argument sounds once you replace weightlifting with someone like Mike Tyson. Next, we have someone demanding pronoun respect from a reporter who clearly didn't get the memo.
Why don't you want to be a girl? You're refusing to call me he. You want me to actively call you a boy and call you he. That's crazy because that's what I just said. I'm not gonna do it.
Here's a perfect example of woke optimism colliding with a brick wall. The girl confidently announces her pronouns, expecting an immediate "yes, sir." Instead, the reporter rejects the request like a pop-up ad. You can almost hear her internal error message: "Respect XA has stopped working." Moving on, here's a protester who loves helping immigrants, as long as someone else does the helping.
He's an illegal immigrant from Mexico. We were wondering if you could support him financially or giving him the keys to your house. He's been in an awful detention center. Are you willing to help him out right now?
I know. And I don't have cash.
Do you take Venmo? Sí.
I don't know what that is.
Check?
No.
Credit card?
No.
We could write down your credit card information.
I do feel for you, but...
Yes, compassion with a strict terms and conditions clause. She feels for him, just not enough to actually do anything. Sympathy points awarded, action points, 0. The classic modern protester move, care deeply from a safe distance. Rolling on, check out this guy who supports immigration, just not inside his house.
You support immigration?
Yeah.
Recently, the state of Massachusetts said that people should step up and open up their homes to house migrants. Would you sign this pledge today to open up your home to house a migrant?
No.
Here's modern activism boiled down. Love immigrants from a safe distance, but don't let them anywhere near your personal space. Idealism meets reality, and suddenly, support comes with a hard "except here" clause. Up next, a socialist who loves communism, but wouldn't move there even with a free ticket and 20 grand.
I got an offer for you before we move on. If I were to give you your $2,350, which is the cost to renunciate your citizenship, and I paid you your first class, flight to whatever communist country, and $20,000 to spend the money.
Communist country.
Would you give up your citizenship to go to that country?
And
Whichever communist country you want to go to. Cuba, we can give you Venezuela, we give you North Korea, any one of those you want to go to. Choose any one of them, I'll give you one-way ticket, and I'll fund it for you if you want to.
That's it.
Meet the armchair revolutionary, passionately support communism on social media, but walk straight past it when given a golden opportunity. Principles good, personal risk bad. Classic case of capitalism convenience meets socialist fantasy. Now watch a reporter explain the border crisis, while a liberal insists Biden fixed it with vibes, I guess.
President Biden passed a series of executive actions, and illegal border crossings are now at their lowest levels in about 5 years, so much so that Greg Abbott is no longer busing people to other cities. But let me ask you this fundamental question.
Please.
Will families be separated under your mass deportation?
And again, I do want to answer this question about families and about deportations, but you made this point that border crossings are lower. Border crossings at the southern border are lower because the Harris administration is sending more immigrants through the ports of entry. So instead of coming through the southern border, they're now being flown at taxpayer expense to the ports of entry all over our country. The number of illegal crossings, they're not any lower. They're just shuffling how the people are coming into the country in the first place. And this is very important.
They're able to process them more efficiently, but Greg Abbott's not setting them to other states.
I don't want a border czar who makes it more efficient for illegal immigrants to come into this country. That's why we have
the magical thinking strikes again. Low numbers at the border, clearly a legislative miracle. Meanwhile, reality quietly points out that the system just rerouted people through official ports. Facts versus narrative. Guess which one loses in the interview spotlight? Now check this out. A woke activist shouting about how white people are living on easy mode, only for a young guy to calmly step up and shred the entire victim script in seconds.
White people are not being hunted after. Y'all can come here and live a great freaking life.
So CJ, you're a black person. Are you hunted at the university?
I don't feel hunted at this university, but I guess the difference between me and some people here is that I don't choose to be a victim, Charlie. Which I think is the biggest problem we have here today are people who wake up every single day looking for a reason to be oppressed, looking for a reason to cry and make an excuse about why they're not in a position to go win. I don't see the color of my skin as a disability. I see it as simply an accessory that I couldn't control. I've been black all my life. I've been black today. But I'm thriving here. That's a roll tide right there, right? I don't know.
And so CJ, let me ask you, CRT, racist?
It's not just racist. It's the exact iteration of white supremacy, just in reverse. I think it's important that we start teaching young people not to hate other people because of the color of their skin. We can teach black people to be proud of who they are without telling white people they should be ashamed of who they are.
He explains he is not hunted. He is not oppressed. He He is not looking for excuses, and the crowd eats it up. Nothing shuts down woke outrage faster than someone who refuses to play the victim card they keep waving around. In this next clip, a feminist refuses to rethink anything, even when reality is shoved right onto the screen in front of her.
Who's the primary victim of the Ukraine war? Men or women?
If I'm standing on the same point I've been saying, I guess women.
Well, don't be stubborn. Like, actually, like, rethink. Like, it's okay to change your mind.
Yeah, you can pull it. It's blurred, right? It's the blurred one? Yep. Okay, we'll pull this one up. So, on the left, these are all Ukrainian women that were screenshotted on dating apps in various other countries. On the right, we had to blur it out. I'll let you can make some assumptions about what's on the right, but it's males on the right, females on the left. Ukrainian men on the right, mind you. Does that change anything?
Sure, men are
Now, what if I told you for all military conflicts along those lines, it's about the same? That women get to escape and men have to stay and die.
You were making crazy assumptions.
She insists women are the primary victims of war, then laughs it off when shown exactly who is drafted, who stays behind, and who dies. Meanwhile, the host stays calm, drops receipts, and watches her brush off battlefield casualties like they are crazy assumptions. Perfect example of feelings trying to outrun facts. Popping up is a woke activist kicking things off with the classic check your privilege speech.
I'm gonna be blunt today. I need white autistic people to check their privilege.
I agree. White autistic, hang on a second. Are we about to have a go at white autistic people here? Good. We need to. Okay, so all the autistic people watching this, the white autistic people. So that goes for the people who, are really good at piano and love Lego and love Pokemon cards and all that. And all the dudes that are like, they can't talk, they're non-verbal, this, that, and the other. And all of the chicks who think they're hot and have OnlyFans pages and have decided that they're autistic. This one goes out to you guys. Let's have a look what this lady has to say.
This morning I woke up to a post by a white autistic creator talking about unpopular opinions about autism and ADHD. And the very first thing...
Okay, my unpopular opinion about autism and ADHD is it's massively overdiagnosed in the current younger generations. These people are accessing mental health medications just for these diseases that they have learnt off TikTok that they have. Okay, so what problem does she have with these white people who happen to be autistic that are saying things? What is the privilege that needs to be checked?
And the very first thing on that post was that masking is exhausting and harmful, which 100% it absolutely is.
Masking.
But they
What's
also
masking?
follow it up by saying that masking is a useless skill.
Masking is when a person's intentionally or unintentionally hides aspects of their true self, such as true feelings, behaviors, and symptoms. So I think most of us mask in different circumstances when you go to different places or you talk to different people. But apparently with autistic people, they do it all the time when they're out in public. Okay.
Masking is not only useful, but extremely necessary. Autistic people mask for so many reasons, like keeping their jobs, avoiding bullying, avoiding mental and physical harm to their well-being.
Yeah. You're saying that this person needs to realize why they're so privileged as a white autistic person to be able to say that masking is an unnecessary skill. What is your point?
And for so many autistic people, it can actually make the difference between them being alive, especially for black and brown autistic
What does
people.
someone's race have to do with it?
She's fired up, ready to scold the world for problems she only discovered 5 minutes ago. The guy hearing all this just stares back with that perfect mix of confusion and amusement, tossing out simple logic while she tries turning everyday behavior into some massive social crisis. Next, we've got a BBC host trying to corner a politician with the usual outrage script, and the man doesn't just push back, he steamrolls the whole narrative.
Putin comes here in August as planned. Your government will be obliged to arrest him.
We will want President Putin to be here even tomorrow, to come to our country.
You would welcome Vladimir Putin here right now.
Of course we will welcome.
A man who is being investigated for war crimes by the
We
International
will
Criminal
welcome
Court.
him to come here as part and parcel of BRICS, but we know that we are constrained by the ICC. Putin is a head of state. Do you think that a head of state can just be arrested anywhere? How many crimes have your country committed in Iraq? How many crimes have everyone else who's so vocal today committed in Iraq and Afghanistan? Have you arrested them?
But
You're
this stand
making
of
a lot
yours-
of noise about putting in state of working for peace between Ukraine and Russia, and you failed to resolve the war. Where are the weapons of mass destruction? More than millions of people have died in Iraq and Afghanistan. Afghanistan and there are no weapons of mass destruction. We know what the war is about.
The moment the interviewer starts lecturing, he gets hit with a full rundown of Western hypocrisy, unanswered questions, and receipts he was not ready for. By the end, the woke moral high ground is gone, and the host is left blinking while the guest keeps swinging. Now check this out. Here's what happens when woke manners run straight into reality.
I'd like to encourage people struggling with this to be kind as their first impulse. You know, we call somebody what they want to be called in our society. For instance, I don't call somebody Julie if they prefer to be called Jordan. That's just basic human courtesy. One thing I'd like you to really look at in regard to this controversy is to watch out for who's getting centered in a discussion. Political correctness is code that powerful people use when they're annoyed that they're actually not the center of attention in any given discussion. And Bill C-16 is actually not about cisgender people. It's about protections for transgender people. So, you know, mostly with this Peterson controversy, which is really just a small drama, a tempest in a teapot, you know, he could just get over learning program a few pronouns into his phone.
Well, kindness is the excuse that social justice warriors use when they want to exercise control over what other people think and say. So, you know, if we're bandying back and forth our differences in value, you know, I would say that the highest possible value is truth, and that one of the concomitants is that we need stringent protection for freedom of speech so that we can utter the truths that we see fit. And I think that that's a value that's much higher than kindness, for example. When you discipline children, you often hurt their feelings in the short term so that they can learn to behave properly in the medium to long term so that their lives go well. And so this automatic assumption that the people on the social justice warrior side of the equation are motivated only by kindness when they're also clearly motivated by power is something I find completely untenable. And I don't think that Pete's solution to program my cell phone so that I can remember what names people need to be called is a reasonable solution at all.
The calm response cuts through the noise, pointing out that moral pressure often hides control. Truth and free speech take center stage. And suddenly the woke position sounds less compassionate and a lot more authoritarian. And in this one, a liberal says no black person compares abortion to slavery until a black woman walks up.
It's really laughable that it's only white people equating slavery to owning an abortion. Not once have I heard one black or woman of color.
Faith, do you want to come up here? Because apparently color matters.
I would like to hear from a woman of color why
sure,
that
Faith,
is racist.
come on up here.
I would rather hear that.
Go ahead, Faith.
What's that funny?
Why are you pro-life, Faith?
Yes, thank you.
I am pro-life because life begins in the womb at conception, and I think that our personhood, our rights should not be based on having to be human plus something else. That's exactly what happened with slavery, where we were told that you have to be human plus not black. And now we're saying that you have to be human plus a certain age, or human and in a different location. And so really what abortion is age-based discrimination.
People were seen as human beings. Black people were not seen as humans. They were like...
The Supreme Court actually said that they were 3/5 a human person. Just like how you all have denied that a child in the womb is a human.
It's remarkable how some arguments hinge entirely on selective reasoning. Principles are claimed, but consistency is optional. When ideology conflicts with actual logic, suddenly moral authority feels shaky and opinions lose their weight. Facts don't bend to narrative, no matter how confidently they're delivered. Finally, we close with someone redefining conversion therapy so hard it circles back to reality.
This isn't a mental illness. Don't stick them into the conversion therapy to say, no, don't.
Wait, how can... Wait, hold up. How can we call this conversion therapy?
That's what you just saw. Just what you told me. Well, you gave me the best definition of conversion therapy there is. You said she says she wants to turn into a boy, and the parent says, no, I'll take you to therapy for your mental illness. That's what you told. That's what you said.
And you think that's conversion therapy? Okay, conversion therapy to me sounds like, yes, Cindy, I know you were born a girl, but I'm going to tell you that your delusion you can be a male is totally real, and I'm going to try to help convert you to be a male. I think gender affirming care is telling Cindy there was no mistake made on her, that she's perfect the way she is, and that we want to help her get to a place where she sees how wonderful she is the same way we do.
Do you remember, we used to do it at gay children and say, Dad.
You don't understand. If you have somebody who is a biological female and they say they want to be a male and you change them, you are describing a conversion. That's conversion therapy, what you're doing. Gender affirming care. Okay, we can wind up, but gender affirming care is telling that child there is nothing wrong with them, that they are wonderful, that they are perfectly made.
Sometimes truth is painfully simple. The man boils it down. Therapy shouldn't validate delusion. It should acknowledge reality. Gender-affirming care supports someone as they biologically are, not as their imagination dictates. Logic over feelings wins the round, proving that clarity often humbles even the most confident ideological arguments. Up next is a woke radio host trying to corner a man who showed up with facts instead of slogans, and it goes sideways instantly.
In America, 60% of the shootings, robberies, and the homicides are committed by black people, often against other black people. You can't blame it on poverty. You can't blame it on racism. It is the breakdown of the nuclear intact family, and neither side is talking about it.
Here's a question. What do white people do wrong?
What do you mean, what do white people do? I'm not worried about white people. I'm worried about what's going on with us.
But if there's systemic racism in this country, which we know it is.
No, I don't say there is. You say there is. I don't believe that.
Have you ever heard of the term Nick wake-up call?
No.
It is an incident where a person of color forgets that they are of color and are reminded by an unexpected act of racism.
I'm acutely aware, Charlemagne, that I'm a black person, just as you are a black person. And when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black, we don't know whether or not you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump. And Joe Biden has lied for decades about his civil rights record, claiming that he desegregated movie theaters and restaurants in Wilmington, Delaware, when he didn't do any of that. And he came in here and told you aren't even black unless you think a certain kind of way. It seemed to me that should have been a Nick wake-up call for you, but it wasn't, apparently.
The host asks loaded questions, tosses buzzwords around, and the moment he tries to lecture about racism, the guest flips the whole script back on him using his own political hero's words. Watching the host sit there in silence while his narrative gets dismantled is the cleanest shutdown of the day. Now for a classic pronoun circus, we've got a woke defender lecturing everyone on respecting identities, only to trip over the very pronouns she's policing.
Sam Smith, he, they, them, she, whatever he currently calls himself,
they,
she does, they,
yes.
Whatever they. See, I can't call one person they.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that. There's only one of them.
Because you can't get your head around it.
They can't either because they keep
it's grammatically
changing
incorrect.
their mind what they are.
No, it's not their problem. It's your problem.
Well, if I said my pronoun was hottest man alive, that was my genuine pronoun, would you feel obliged to call me that every day? Hey, hottest man alive? No, you wouldn't, would you? No. So, in other words, it all depends who decides what they want to be called. Why do we have to call Sam Smith they?
Because we're respecting their
so why don't you respect
choice.
Me? That's my choice.
When do I have to
it's my choice.
When do I have to call you?
I want to be called hottest man alive.
Hottest man alive.
Yes,
all the time.
That is my choice, and I demand you respect it.
Oh, he's obviously confused. I'm not sure he would agree with you as defining him as confused.
He wouldn't, obviously. What do you mean he?
Them,
what do you mean
they.
Hang on. You just misgendered Sam Smith.
She fights hard, scolds, corrects, and insists the rules are simple, until one slip proves even she cannot follow them. Piers catches it instantly, and her whole argument folds as fast as her confidence. Here we have a woke interviewer trying to run the same tired script about policing, only to get hit with answers he was not ready for.
You're the founder of White History Month.
Yes.
Do you agree or disagree with the George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act?
I totally disagree because, as we all know, George Floyd was a black, unemployed drug addict with a criminal record.
Let's clear something up, sir. You really should be ashamed of yourself. George Floyd is...
It's his fault.
He's because a cop killed him.
No, because he was a drug addict.
He pushes emotion, he tries guilt, he even throws shame at the wall, hoping it sticks. But Jesse stays calm and cuts straight through every talking point. The host keeps scrambling for control, and the more he panics, the clearer it is that his entire narrative just fell apart. Here's a good one where a masked campus revolutionary who hates the country yet somehow refuses to pack a bag, even when asked twice.
Hello, Charlie.
What's your name?
None of your business.
Okay, hello, nice to meet you, none of your business.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So, do you love America?
Yes, I do.
I hate America. Every state in the USA should be an independent country. What do you think of this?
Well, I just first have to ask, since you hate the country, do you plan to leave?
What do you mean by that?
Do you plan to go live in another country?
No, I do not.
America is the only country where even those who hate it refuse to leave. That's how you know you live in a great country.
They shout about how awful America is, the crowd boos, and Charlie calmly asks the most obvious question on earth. The answer? A fast no, of course. Nothing exposes woke theatrics faster than watching someone refuse to leave the terrible place they live in. Comping up, we've got a guy quietly enjoying his lunch while dropping more common sense in 60 seconds than the entire woke internet manages in a year.
If we make guns illegal, then nobody will get shot. That's how we stopped everybody from doing drugs. Ever notice that dogs only come in male and female, and even if you chop the balls off one, it's still a male? Call me old-fashioned, but I'm glad my mother was a woman. Why is it that if the government finds diamonds or oil in your backyard, it's government property? But if they find drugs, it's yours? Messed up. You're probably not finding love because you're the problem. And God is protecting other people from you. Every time I order a cheeseburger, I make it a double so that a vegan out there in the world isn't actually making a difference. So I can't have an opinion on abortion because I don't have a uterus. But I can be a woman without one? Got it.
Every line he delivers cancels a different piece of woke logic, and he does it without raising his voice. Just sarcasm and snacks. The calm confidence makes it sting even more, because nothing annoys woke activists like someone dismantling their talking points between bites of a cheeseburger. Next is a podcaster who takes one look at a massive gender equality strike and turns it into a full comedy routine that hits every woke nerve at once.
So 100,000 women went on strike today and I demand gender equality. The entire population is 370,000. So over 25% of the population went on strike, and I have some crazy news for you. The economy did not come to a stop, and it continued as normal. The only memo I got was that HR departments were getting no complaints for the 24 hours that the women were on strike, and men were writing that they were really sorry women didn't get gender equality, but I heard one CEO said it was nice to finally get some done, end quote.
He breaks down the numbers, waits for the outrage to bubble up, then casually points out that the economy didn't even blink. Add in the HR joke and the CEO punchline, and the whole thing becomes a brutal reminder that woke theatrics don't equal real impact. Here comes another one where a college kid is trying to launch into the usual moral outrage monologue, only for the reporter to hit him with a two-word question that sends his whole script flying out the window.
Donald Trump said on this video that he likes kissing pretty women and that—
You don't?
Sir, can I finish?
You like kissing ugly women?
Excuse me. Can I finish my statement, please?
The moment he's asked to apply his own logic, he freezes, stammers, and starts begging to finish his statement, while the reporter keeps dropping haymakers with a straight face. It's the kind of shutdown that leaves woke talking points sitting on the curb, wondering what just happened. Comping up, Matt Walsh is listening to a woke word salad about pregnant people, and you can almost see the confusion turn into pure amusement on his face.
Do you know what the leading cause of death for pregnant people is?
Pregnant people? Mothers?
If you'd like to call them mothers, not all of them are.
What are they if they're not mothers?
They're pregnant people. It only takes a couple extra syllables to use inclusive language.
To include
and
who?
It seems to include people who don't, identify as women but can become pregnant.
I would like to identify as the correct person on this issue.
That's not your identity.
That is my identity. I promise you, that's my identity.
The moment he flips her own identity logic back on her, she collapses instantly, refusing to accept the very rule she just preached. Walsh stays calm, stays sharp, and leaves her argument sitting there blinking in confusion while the crowd laughs in the background. And here, witness a woman defend Planned Parenthood and accidentally defend eugenics at the same time.
And yet you bash Planned Parenthood for starting at eugenicists.
Yes.
When they were just keeping up with the times. Hence is why they moved on to abortion past eugenicists.
I don't actually have anything to say to that because you just admitted that you're okay that Planned Parenthood started.
Disney started with racist movies, didn't they?
They did have racism.
So do we all support Disney in here?
No, most of us probably would say no.
Do you guys still watch Disney movies?
This is horrible.
Yeah! That no
I can't
one
believe
in
you
here
just said
has ever seen a Disney movie.
justified eugenics beliefs and saying they were just keeping. Margaret Sanger spoke at a women's KKK rally. Was she just keeping up with the times, or was that wrong?
Are you going to say all old people now are still racist?
Not all old people spoke at a KKK rally.
But they were still raised to be racist, and people change.
Absolutely, people can change, and people can be forgiven as well. But the point is, the organization known as Planned Parenthood started out a racist eugenic founding, and they've continued to promote that eugenics practice in the fact that 99% of all their abortion facilities are located in walkable urban minority neighborhoods. We know they continue to practice eugenics today. Are you okay with the fact that more than half of all babies in New York City, more than half, are aborted rather than born? Are you okay that there's more abortions of black babies than births? Is that okay with you?
It's not my place to decide whether a woman has an abortion or not.
I honestly don't have anything more to say. I mean, you keep asking questions, but I mean, you just defended eugenics and you defended racism, so you had to do that.
She sidesteps accountability like a pro, defend an organization's eugenic past, then claim personal choice absolves you. History says one thing, her argument says another, and somehow the contradiction passes as debate tactics. Next up is a sheriff laying out the kind of blunt truth that sends woke activists into full meltdown mode.
Florida sheriff is not playing around.
Did you see that cop on TV? They were saying if someone breaks in your house in Florida, please shoot them. We prefer if you shoot them.
7 charges total. His bond's $157,500. As to the person, we don't know which homeowner shot at him. I guess they think that they did something wrong, which they did not. If somebody's breaking in your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you do, actually. Whoever that was, you're not in trouble. Come see us. We have a gun safety class we put on every other Saturday. If you take that, you'll shoot a lot better, and hopefully you'll save taxpayers money.
Hilarious. That's Florida.
I mean, he's getting a lot of heat today.
Not in Florida. I bet they're like, yeah. The thing is, once people start going to jail for defending their own property, you've made a mess.
You made a mess.
You made a giant mess.
The sheriff basically hands out permission slips for homeowners to defend themselves, and the woke crowd clutches their pearls. Finally, someone's saying what everyone else is too scared to admit. This time, it's a woke student trying to prove multiple genders existed in history by quoting everything except actual history, and Michael Knowles wipes the floor with them in seconds.
Imagine citing a Disney movie to prove multiple genders existed in history.
There's evidence of people who were transgender in ancient Greece, Rome. Judaism is an example of a religion that acknowledges 6 or 7 genders.
I don't think that's quite true. My evidence for that would be in the very first book of the Torah in Genesis. One of the most prominent lines is that in the beginning, God created man. Both male and female created he them.
It's not the...
What you're citing is this line that a lot of people who are pro-transgender will say, which is, you know, actually in some Native American tribe that I can't quite name right now, I'm sure they believe in 3rd and a 4th and a 5th gender, but that just isn't true. That's been made up by white liberals.
You know the movie Mulan, Disney?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Mulan,
Yeah.
dresses as a man, right, goes to war. That's based off of true history.
Oh yes, cross-dressing has occurred in
Not just
history.
cross-dressing, but people who
In
went
Mulan, did the female character think she was a man?
No.
Oh, okay.
Crazy how common sense isn't common anymore.
The moment he asks one simple question about Mulan, the entire argument collapses. All that confidence turns into stuttering, while Knowles stays calm and slices through the fantasy like it was never there to begin with. Here's a good one where a woke keyboard warrior who thought threatening Crowder online was peak bravery, only to fold like wet paper the second Crowder walks in holding receipts bigger than the juice bar menu.
This is undoubtedly the first dose of reality this leftist has ever had.
You remember me at all? Steven Crowder at all? No, not familiar?
No.
This is you threatening to slash my tires here?
Oh my god, dude. You need
Remember
to
this?
chill out.
Slashing my tires and actually...
We're trying to work.
Let me ask you, why do you think it's okay to threaten to slash someone's tires?
Hey, I didn't do it.
I'm a conservative who has a difference of opinion from you, and I've never threatened actions of violence. I've never threatened to slash anyone's tires.
You need to get out or we're going to call the police.
You know what, let's call the police officers, because matter of fact, we actually have... No, actually, I would like to speak with the police. We're about to file a report very soon. This is a part of being a man, is owning up to the actions here. When you threaten violence against someone, part of being a man is taking ownership of your actions, taking responsibility.
The guy instantly switches to denial mode while Crowder stays steady and schools him on responsibility. Nothing exposes fake tough talk faster than meeting the person you tried to impress the internet attacking. Now for my personal favorite, a Kamala fan who can praise her for 5 minutes and name 0 accomplishments.
So we're here outside of the Kamala Harris event. I want to know, what are you most excited for tonight?
Probably most excited for
the greatest female almost president in history. She was really a champion of women's rights, transgender people's rights, so really everything I agree with.
If she were to run for president, would she have your unwavering support?
100%. I'd try to get out the vote for everyone. I'd be willing to table for her, go knock doors. I'd really do anything to help Kamala.
Well, hey, last question for you. Could you name me Kamala Harris's greatest accomplishment in your opinion over the last 4 years when she was vice president?
Probably being the border czar.
Do you think she did a good job as border czar?
I think she did exactly what she was supposed to do. We have way more migrants now, so more the merrier. Open borders.
Behold the magic of admiration without context. What did she do, you ask? She let immigrants in. He says, that's the entirety of accomplishment criteria now. Permission slips for people. Who needs legislation or achievements when you've got approval points? Up next, enjoy this activist arguing about ICE until she's asked a real question and her brain blue screens.
I see a lot of ICE detaining people peacefully.
But let's get, of course you do. Of course you do. Yeah. You see what you're looking for, you know what I mean? So you might be at like a protest and there's a clash between federal agents and people where somebody that's getting arrested is an American citizen. Well, they're getting arrested because they're obstructing an official process.
Where they're going masked and being kidnapped and deported to countries they didn't even come
because
from.
people are trying to murder them and dox them and their families.
Not all of them.
That's why
No.
they hide their protection, their faces.
Not all of them.
And not all of them hide their faces.
And also, not everybody crossing the border is here to cause harm.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there is a massive national effort to dox ICE agents, their families. You've also seen multiple assassination attempts at ICE facilities. So the fact that they're wearing masks to protect their identities is not that surprising, is it?
ICE is an entity that's going around doxing people. So the fact that they're being targeted back doesn't surprise me. Do I think it's right? No. I don't think there should be targeting. I don't think there should be any targeting back and forth at all.
How are they doxing people? What do you mean? You said that ICE is doxing people. That's what you just said.
Yes.
How?
I think people should be treated like human beings.
Yeah.
And not like animals or inferior people.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
Well, I disagree that they're doing that, you know? I disagree. And I think the act of enforcing immigration law is super important. There's not a single benefit to the American people.
Right and humanely, and that's not the way to do it.
And what is it, though? We got to hear what it is.
I'm leaving.
Last note, ma'am.
Guys, that's my lap.
All right.
This is what happens when someone argues from emotion instead of facts. The moment you ask for specifics, the Wi-Fi connection in their brain drops. Doxing magically becomes not surprising until she's asked to explain it. Then poof, moral outrage turns into a quick retreat. Sliding right along, here's a debate where everything, literally everything, is apparently patriarchy.
If a kid cuts their hair and chooses to wear a different kind of clothes, what's the harm in that? Yeah,
So you would let your...
The kid is being harmed. Again, I'm never having kids, but hypothetically...
You would let your boy wear dresses?
Yeah. Even if...
Out and about, like walk around outside?
Yeah. If I had a son, which, again, child...
Yeah, I know. You're not going to want to have kids, yeah.
If I were to have a kid, and my kid was like, Mommy, I want to wear dresses, and I had a son, I'd be like, okay, what kind of dresses do you want to wear? I wouldn't push anything on him, but if my kid expressed that desire, and it wasn't something that was going to actively harm him...
See, and that's where we as adults come in and say, hey, like, actually, I still want you to be what you were born as. I'm going to buy you masculine clothes.
Largely with the patriarchy, because it enforces such strict gender rules on everyone. I think that...
How is that a patriarchy, though?
Because it essentially pushes people in... That is the point of the patriarchy. It pushes people into these boxes of man and woman.
No, because you want what's right for them. That's what parents do.
Here's a masterclass in debating from theory over reality. Masculinity is now a tool of oppression, but only if it exists in a child you don't have. Bonus points for turning every opinion into a systemic conspiracy. Feminist thought meets an imaginary son. Now, for a comedy version of reality being spelled out, Ricky Gervais tears the whole woke routine apart without breaking a sweat.
These people are virtue signaling. They're trying to bring people down to raise their own status. And they say it's because, no, we're protecting minorities. Like, they're basically saying minorities haven't got a sense of humour. And I get that as well, to what it's like to be outnumbered. In this country, we're still only 5% black, 5% Asian, 5% LGBTQ, you know, tiny numbers. Now, I'm a white, heterosexual multimillionaire. There's less than 1% of us. Do I whine? No. I I just get on with it. Come on, Rick. Come on, Rick. I'm like Rosa Parks. Do you know what I mean? Except I fought for the right to never have to take a seat on a bus.
He mocks the idea that minorities need constant protection, then flips the script by calling himself a 1% minority with a straight face. The audience loses it while woke virtue signaling gets dragged across the stage. Perfect takedown dressed as a punchline. Next is a pride parade philosopher who thinks disliking an entire race is fine as long as it fits the woke script.
What do you think about white men?
I think it's just the term white man, just immediate turn off.
What do you think of black men?
Love.
Do you think it's racist to, by default, not like white men?
I mean, I don't think so, because I think there's a difference between like racism and that's an interesting question.
It is an interesting question.
Yeah, because like, I mean, I don't dislike, but there is like nervous feeling. I don't know.
So if you met someone who said that they get nervous around black men and that they've had bad experiences with black men, would you still consider that racist?
Ooh, yeah, I see your point.
If you want to escape all the woke media, then check out the new movie Nefarious. You can watch it on Vudu, Roku, Apple, and Google Play.
The moment the interviewer flips the scenario and asks if the same logic applies when the races change, you can almost hear the mental gears snap. All that confidence melts into stuttering, giggles, and a full system crash. That is what happens when selective outrage meets actual consistency. Here's a moment where Jeffrey Marsh tries turning a simple disagreement into a dramatic crisis, and it backfires instantly.
J.K. Rowling has been tweeting again, and she is a bigot.
I mean, she's never actually said anything bigoted against trans people. What she has said is that women's rights should not be replaced for trans rights. They are both allowed to exist. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And women's rights should not be eradicated, which they are being at the moment, just because there's a very, very small minority of people that are trans. So I don't see why the trans community is so offended by her protecting and fighting for women's rights. I really don't understand that, because don't get me wrong, I know that trans people are, or can be, and have been oppressed in the past. You know, so why would they want women to have their rights eradicated, which is essentially will lead to oppression? Why would they want that? So at times, the trans community do contradict themselves an awful lot. So J.K. Rowling has never once said anything remotely offensive to the trans community. She's never been rude or nasty, even though she's had all sorts of threats against her just because she believes in protecting women's spaces. So I don't really understand why she's been targeted so much. Are people that identify as trans really that offended by someone that is proud to be a woman and wants to fight for women's spaces and women's rights? Why are you offended by that? Unless you have an ulterior motive and agenda.
The guy calmly breaks it down, pointing out the obvious, while the woke script keeps trying to stretch reality into some tragic performance piece. He sticks to simple facts, and somehow that alone already has more impact than the whole speech he's responding to. And finally, we've got Ricky Gervais laying into the woke crowd that thinks their feelings should control the entire planet.
How arrogant are you to think that you deserve to go through life with no one ever saying anything that you don't agree with or like? I want people to stop saying that joke's offensive. Yeah. I want them to start saying I found it offensive, because that's all it is. You're just telling me how you feel about it. Yeah. There's nothing intrinsically offensive about this joke. It's trying to make I'm offended sound important. Yeah. It's no different to saying I've got a pain in my leg. Yeah. Well, I believe you. Yeah. But there's nothing to do with me. Yeah, but you shouldn't hurt people's feelings. Well, you can if their feelings are wrong. Yeah. Yeah. You know, if you don't like the facts, don't change the facts, change the feelings. Yeah. So you don't have to pave the jungle. Yeah. You can just grow up there and have a laugh about it.
Ricky Gervais speaking facts. I love that man. He is brilliant.
He breaks down the difference between "that joke is offensive" and "I found it offensive." And suddenly the whole outrage routine looks as flimsy as it actually is. And that wraps up another round of woke noise meeting real resistance. Every meltdown, every tantrum, every shaky argument fell apart as soon as someone refused to hold back. If watching the outrage domino effect is your kind of entertainment, like, share, and subscribe. There is always another meltdown waiting.